Hey guys, it's Cece, and welcome to another edition of If You Like That, Try This. It has been an age since I have done an If You Like That, Try This video, so in case you've forgotten, or in case you're a new subscriber, If You Like That, Try This is a video series I do where I recommend books to you based on a variety of things. Really anything that catches my fancy. I have a full playlist of other If You Like That, Try This videos that I've done. I will leave that linked up on the screen, but today I'm going to be doing an If You Like That, Try This movie edition Part 2. The movie edition Part 1 of If You Like That, Try This was one of the very first ones that I ever did. It was based on a blog post that I once did for a class, and I think that it is definitely time to update that. So without further ado, let's get into these 6 recommendations. The first movie I'm going to talk about is Pacific Rim. Pacific Rim is a movie that is a ridiculous amount of fun. It takes the idea that monsters show up in the world, and humanity's response is to build giant robots to fight them. And when you say that out loud, it sounds ridiculous, but think it through. Does that not seem like exactly what humans would do to deal with this situation? This movie is so much sci-fi fun, full of really interesting characters, and if you like it, I think that you should check out The Edge of the Abyss by Emily Skrutskie. The Edge of the Abyss is set in a future in which pirates once more rule the waters. So in an attempt to protect civilian vessels, humans have begun to breed sea monsters, basically, that are trained to protect the boats that they travel with. Then, on Cass's first solo mission as a reckoner trainer, pirates attack her ship and kill her reckoner, then take Cass captive. This book is about lesbian pirates. It is sci-fi fun, and there are sea monsters. It's got wonderful, morally complex characters. It's got a great slow burn romance that carries over 2 books. It is a duology. And in general, if you liked Pacific Rim, if you liked the vibe and the fun and the sea monsters and the robots, any of that, I think that you'll really like The Edge of the Abyss. Next up, I want to talk about the movie Memento. Memento is a murder mystery told in reverse. The main character has short-term memory loss and can only remember about 5 minutes of his life at a time. This leads to a narrative that is seriously told backwards. You start at the end and work your way back to the beginning of the story. It's masterful filmmaking, it's gritty and interesting, and if you like it, I think that you might like The One Memory of Flora by Emily Barr. This book reminds me of Memento, but without the grit, which is sort of my biggest issue with Christopher Nolan as a director. I think that he has the word gritty tattooed on his soul. The One Memory of Flora Banks is also about a girl named Flora Banks, who does not have the ability to create any new memories. And then one day she wakes up and she still has a memory from the night before, a memory of a boy kissing her. She goes on a mission by herself without the comforts and the safety of home to try to track down this boy who has disappeared and try to understand why this is a memory that has stuck around. Now, I do want to say about Flora Banks that it is not a story about romance saving the day, romance fixing an illness. There's much more to it than that, and I wouldn't be recommending the book if it was a story about a boy kissing someone and him somehow saving a girl from not being able to form new memories. That's not what the book is about. But it is an incredibly fascinating way to construct a story where the main character can't remember the chapter before, but you can. It leads to some really scary feelings, some scary moments, and a story about Flora breaking free and finding new people despite the fact that that is not what her family wants her to be able to do. So, if you really liked Memento, I think you should possibly check out The One Memory of Flora Banks. Next up, we have Practical Magic. Practical Magic is about sisters who are witches, but they have a family curse that means that whenever they fall in love with a man, he will be taken away from them somehow. This is a movie that gets passed around a lot when people are talking about witch media and witch stories, and it's not my favorite. I'll be honest with you, but I do think I have a book to recommend if you really like Practical Magic and want a book that's similar. So if you liked Practical Magic, I would like to recommend Wild Beauty by Anne-Marie McLemore. This is a story about a family of magical women who tend the lush gardens of La Pradera. The gardens are so beautiful that people from around the world come to see them, as well as the women who tend them, who've been thrown out of their previous homes for accusations of witchcraft. But despite the beauty of their home, the women women of this family live with a dark secret, that whoever falls in love with one of these women is doomed to die. This book is about generations of a Latinx family that has been followed by tragedy. It's a story about love and family and colonialism and fighting against the tragedies of the past that are still affecting the present. It is a beautiful magical realism story about a wonderful collection of female characters, all of whom are bisexual pretty much. That's kind of the implied thing. Definitely all of the cousins are bisexual, and then some of the earlier generations as well. It's absolutely brilliant, and as a person who really prefers their witches queer, it's everything to me. It's a wonderful story, and I highly recommend that you check out Wild Beauty, whether or not you loved practical magic. Moving on, I want to talk about a newer movie, and that is Edge of 17. This is kind of a quirky, fun coming-of-age story about a girl who feels really out of place within her family, with her best friend, and she finds solace in this teacher who is someone that she feels like she can finally talk to. It's a really funny, heartfelt movie that deals with family relationships in a really complex way, and that I absolutely loved. If you liked Edge of 17, then I think that you should read Foolish Hearts by Emma Mills. I recognize that I have talked about Foolish Hearts in like every video I've done recently, but it was a really good book and it just keeps being relevant. I read Foolish Hearts like a week and a half after I watched Edge of 17, and I couldn't get over the ways in which I think that they intersect. Their focus on family relationships, on best friend relationships, I think are incredibly similar. Plus, they both have a very quirky but wonderful sense of humor that I appreciate. I laughed through the movie and I laughed through the book. Plus, they both have a romance that's kind of like a side element of the story that is still fantastic. So if you liked Edge of 17, definitely read Foolish Hearts, and if you liked Foolish Hearts, maybe you should watch Edge of 17. It goes both ways. Regardless, I hope that you read, watch, whatever, both of these stories. Second to last, I'm going to talk about Gone Girl. Now, I recognize that Gone Girl is an adaptation, but I'm talking about the movie, which is one of the best adaptations that there is. David Fincher has an incredibly atmospheric way of directing. He makes creepy movies that have a distinct look. Actually, a video essayist did a video about how David Fincher tricks our eyes. It was super fascinating and helped me understand David Fincher's work really, really well. So if you want to know more about David Fincher, go watch that video. It's brilliant. Gone Girl is a creepy, atmospheric movie about a woman who has been sort of pushed down by enforced domesticity. There's obviously a lot more to it than that, but there is this emphasis on the domestic and expectations of womanhood, and it's creepy. So if you liked Gone Girl, the movie, then I think that you should check out American Housewife Stories by Helen Ellis. This is a short story collection about the confines of middle class to upper class domesticity for women. It's about American housewives and expectations of them, and it's also got an incredibly creepy twist in a lot of the stories. It takes these elements of domesticity and turns them up to like level 11. It's a fascinating and well-written story collection that is also super atmospheric, so if you loved Gone Girl, then maybe you should check out American Housewives Stories. And finally, I want to talk about Pitch Perfect. So Pitch Perfect is about a girl who goes to college and joins an a cappella group. That's the base level of what Pitch Perfect is about. I am going to be honest with you, I do not like Pitch Perfect. But I do have a book that I really loved that I think, even if you really liked Pitch Perfect, you are still going to really like this book for its a cappella elements. So if you liked Pitch Perfect, or if you didn't and you just kind of like a cappella, then I think you should check out Noteworthy by Riley Redgate. Noteworthy is about a girl named Jordan who is a scholarship student at a school for the performing arts. She is there to be part of the musical theater department, but as an alto, she is not getting any of the parts that she wants. So she decides she's going to dress as a boy and audition for the men's a cappella group on campus. When I read the description for this book, my first thought was, this reminds me a lot of Pitch Perfect. I don't think I'm gonna like it. But I read it anyway, and it is absolutely brilliant. It is hilarious. Jordan is a really fascinating main character, and if you have been frustrated with Pitch Perfect and the fact that it seems kind of queerbaity with the main character, Never fear, Jordan is queer. She's bisexual, which she discovers over the course of this book. It's got this great collection of boys who are also part of the a cappella group who are lovable and funny, and in general, it's just a really lovely YA contemporary. So if you're interested in a cappella, if that is what made you really like Pitch Perfect, then I definitely think that you should read Noteworthy. Okay, that's it. Those are the main recommendations that I had for you in this video. Do you have any book recommendations for me based on movies? Let me know down in the comments below. I'm very interested in those. I find them really cool. Comparing books and movies I think is just kind of fun. So let me know that down in the comments below. Plus let me know what you thought of my recommendations. And before you go, a couple of freebies as usual. If you liked Brokeback Mountain, then you should not read the novella. Just don't do it. Just watch Brokeback Mountain again. How good is Brokeback Mountain? I'm getting a little emotional talking about it. And if you liked the 5th Pirates of the Caribbean movie, you should check out really anything that J.K. Rowling has written recently. She also doesn't know when to quit and also thinks it's still acceptable to have Johnny Depp in stuff. Alright guys, that is it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in another video very soon. Bye!